Welcome into the Press Box Fantasy Football Show with Ken Zalis, Glenn Clark, Kyle Ottenheimer, and KZ with you on another Thursday. It's good to see you, sir. How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
I'm all right. I'm 0-2 in one league, and if I could have just gotten literally any points at all from either Deshaun Jackson or Drew Brees, I wouldn't be 0-2 in that league. Like, literally any points at all. I could have still gotten a goose egg from the other one. I could have gotten, 3 points. I would have been fine. I couldn't get any. Combined 0.9 points from the two last week.
Yeah.
Not a great week for you, boy.
You should have not played them.
Thank you, Kyle. Great call. Great call on your part.
I'm in a highly competitive, you may have seen this tweet or whatever, highly competitive best ball league.
Yes.
I was in third place after 2 weeks.
Yeah?
My quarterbacks in that league are Eli Manning,
Ooh.
Nick Foles, and Drew Brees.
Gross.
I have no quarterback till a minimum of week 6.
Nice.
Wow.
Congrats.
Wow.
It's tough to win that way.
Maybe Eli gets traded, huh?
How much is that going to cost you? How much is that going to cost you?
It's like $50 to get in, but
right. But it's about the pride for you.
But it's
Yeah,
I won it 2 years ago. I was like,
it's about the experience.
I'm competitive in that. It's like it's a fun league. I have no chance.
All right. Well, KZ's here. Get your questions in at Glenn Clark Radio on Twitter, facebook.com/Glenn Clark Radio, as we will pose them to him throughout the course of today's show. The show is brought to you by Glory Days Grill. We love Glory Days Grill. It's always a great place to go and catch the games, hang out, just have a meal, catch all the action at your neighborhood Glory Days Grill, where they have tons of TVs to catch every moment of every game. Glory Days Grill, great food, good sports. All right, let's start with the QB stuff, because obviously that's the big headline this week. We'll begin with Drew Brees. Obviously, you're holding him. Obviously, you can't be giving up on Drew Brees. Hopefully, you've got an IR spot. If you don't, you're going to have to figure out a way to keep him on your roster for the next few weeks. I guess we'll encompass that. I'm assuming there are very few people. It would have to be a circumstance like yours that they would have had Eli Manning as their quarterback in fantasy football. But then we'll throw in Ben Roethlisberger, who you're dropping because he's out for the season. What are your options? Is there any value at all in maybe stashing a Mason Rudolph and seeing if perhaps he might be any good?
Yeah, I think he looked pretty good in relief. And now that he's had, quarterbacks when they come in relief, they kind of just chuck the ball in with their 3 favorite plays. And now they've had a full week of practice with the ones. He may have never thrown many footballs to Juju in the entire preseason, or especially during the first 2 weeks of the regular season. So you get that timing down a little bit. When backup quarterbacks come out, I always like to look at running backs and tight ends because you get dump-offs and there's the safety valves and things like that. So, of course, Vance McDonald made a lot of sense when he came in, because that's what you're comfortable with, and he makes a lot of sense this week as well. Look, there are situations that you're forced to pick up these guys. I think he's worth an ad. Daniel Jones is worth an ad.
Gardner Minshew.
Minshew, if you didn't grab him the week before, is worth an ad. I'm going to be in the minority here, but if Cam doesn't play, I actually like this kid Allen a little bit.
Kyle Allen.
Strong name.
Yes, the Allen part. But it's...
what do you think, Josh?
Yeah, but I like him. I'm going to throw a DFS lineup in there with him as the lead of it. But you've gone. I've looked at waiver wires because I have leagues where I had Drew Brees and Ben Roethlisberger. One cost me a win, I believe, against you this week because he got.
Was that the reason why?
I think. Well, he only got 3 points and I lost by 5. So,
oh man! How bad is my team? Yeah. I thought I was supposed to cruise that.
Yeah. I've seen Matthew Stafford on some waiver wires. I've seen Jacoby Brissett on some waiver wires. They can get it done if you play some matchups.
So here's the guy that I'm in love with, that I picked up in not only the league where I had Drew Brees and needed a quarterback, but I also picked him up in another league just because I didn't want anybody else to pick him up.
Please don't say this.
Well, who do you think I'm going to say?
Taysom Hill?
Not Taysom Hill.
God.
Lord, no, not Taysom Hill.
I've had so many questions.
No, I got to start the guy this week. This is a guy I have to actually start. I am in love with Jimmy Garoppolo. I absolutely am buying into what Jimmy Garoppolo is doing in San Francisco and it being legit. And I remember what happened 2 years ago, and he was totally legit. And I don't know why we've completely dismissed him and fallen off the face of the planet.
I don't think we've dismissed him. I mean, he's a quarterback too, and a mid-level quarterback too. I mean, the
mid-level. Who are you playing above Jimmy Garoppolo this week?
I got about 16 guys. Do we have time for
name
that?
the bottom of the 16. That's what I want to know.
Stafford, Rivers, Mayfield, Winston, Wentz.
Okay, but most of those guys aren't available. Like, most of those guys aren't guys you can go out.
That wasn't your question.
Well, no, my question was who can go out and get. That was my point.
I just thought.
Of the group of guys that I could go out and get.
I haven't seen him on many waiver wires, but if you can get him, yeah. I mean,
he's available in all of my leagues.
Who?
Jimmy Garoppolo.
He's not available in mine.
Yeah, I haven't seen him available.
Literally every league.
But if he is, yeah, you go pick him up. I mean, absolutely. I just, he's a guy that's going to throw the ball around. So I agree with that. What are you going to do? I mean, you pick up, you play. You don't like to stream quarterbacks, but you start to stream quarterbacks. I mean, in one of my leagues this week, I'm going to start Mason Rudolph because I think he's the best of what was available between the Mariotas, Flaccos, and Bridgewaters out there. So I'm going to start Mason Rudolph, and that's just the way the game you got to play right now until in Brees's case he gets back. If you're a Roethlisberger owner, I'll be very honest, you have a better starter on your roster. No, many people did not go with Roethlisberger as their top quarterback.
Sure, correct.
So it's not terrible. I don't understand why Daniel Jones was still available in so many leagues after the waiver wire period. To me, he's a guy that needed to be picked up automatically. Tate's going to be back. That situation's going to get better and better. You have Barkley. It's not, teams are going to stack the box to stop Barkley with you behind center if he's any good at all. And he showed he was pretty good in the preseason if we want to learn anything from it. And in his spot cleanup, mop up of a couple of games, I think he has some potential. He should be added in all leagues to me.
Okay. What do you make of everything in Kansas City right now between receiver and running back? You have Demarcus Robinson having a huge week last week. Obviously, everybody races out to grab him if he wasn't available. Yeah. Is that going to happen again? And then the running back situation is just a complete crapshoot.
Yeah. I mean, I was so high on Darwin Thompson, and then they signed McCoy, and he wasn't getting anything. But Darwin Thompson is a guy that needs to be added as a speculative add. I think he starts to get a little bit of touches this week because you got everybody's hurt or banged up. At some point, they're in-game injuries, both McCoy and Damian Williams. Wide receiver, look, I was big on Robinson before the season. He was one of my sleeper guys because I thought somebody had to take the Connolly role, and Connolly had a pretty decent year last year in Kansas City. I thought he was the guy to do it. Mecole Hardman can run 3 routes, and this was my thing. He is a boom or bust. 3 catches, and hopefully he scores a touchdown for you. It looks like Hill is closer to coming back than everybody thought from reports of him, moving his arms and out of the sling and bouncing basketballs that we got yesterday. Is Robinson going to go 5 targets, 5 catches, 176 yards, and 2 touchdowns again? Probably not. Is he going to be involved in the best offense in football? Yeah, so he has to be added. And this week, in what some people think is going to be a higher scoring game, I personally don't, but I think it's going to be a higher scoring game. Yeah, he's startable this week.
The other situation that I wanted to bring up is the situation in the Pittsburgh backfield. How do we handle that?
I mean, they say Connor's not going to practice all week, but he's going to play.
By the way, you didn't even bring up the Chiefs backfield. I guess we should touch on that too. You brought up the wide receivers.
I did bring up the Chiefs backfield.
Darwin Thompson you mentioned.
Yeah, you mentioned Darwin Thompson, but are you just going with him? If Damian Williams gets a start, he's the guy to start. Okay. I would shy away from the whole situation this weekend if I had to. Okay.
I think that Darwin Thompson is a guy that has to be added in all leagues because you already have 2 backs that are a little bit banged up, and he's going to get some more touches. And if he shows anything like he showed in the preseason.
So if Damian Williams doesn't play, then you're playing Thompson?
Yeah, I'm starting him as a flex.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. And then now let's do the Steelers backfield.
the only one to me that's if Connor is active and he starts, he's the only one to be used this week. Samuel is the next one to add. You can't start him this week unless Connor is out 100%. And Snell is a speculative add. I think if Connor misses time, you're going to see Snell early and Samuel's as the third down back. But it's a mess.
Yeah.
It's an absolute mess. And this early in the season, we kind of say this every year. I mean, a lot of messy situations. But I'm going to trust Connor this week if he starts.
Okay.
I think, and the other two aren't even flex worthy for me until Connor's totally out.
Okay. Are you as hot on JJ Arcega-Whiteside as everyone else is?
Look, he's a guy that needs to be added because he's going to start. We all like the talent, but Aguilar's the guy to have right now as long as he's healthy and in there. He's going to be what I think is the top
I don't have enough
target.
spots to stash all these
I don't
guys.
have.
There's so many guys that I want to I want to go stash them. I just don't have the spots.
I've done a couple of things. I've dropped some people I probably didn't want to drop, but I'm like in the back of my head is like, am I keeping this person because I think he's going to have value 3 weeks from now, or am I keeping this person because...
Oh, I had to do the bit this week that I am going to hate myself for. Like, I have to find another running back that can get me points in one league. Mm-hmm. And so I'm a Dalvin Cook owner. I just had to drop Alexander Madison. Like, I didn't want to because...
See, I had that choice and I couldn't do it.
I just have to find somebody that can actually get me some points.
Look, as you guys know, I was all on
you're a big
Cook
Dalvin
trade.
Cook guy. And he's
all on the Cook trade.
He's looked great so far.
For 2 weeks, I'm 1,000% right. But... I couldn't drop his.
I understand why you're saying that. I'm in a spot where I have to find points, and it's a Drew Brees league, right? So I can't.
I know.
I had to get a roster spot for a quarterback.
Look, I'm the same way. In the league I have Drew Brees. I also have Hunter Harvey, who I put on my IR. It's like, okay, great.
Oh, I'm
fantastic.
By the way,
things are just going swimmingly.
I was thinking about dropping Deshaun Jackson. I'm like,
I told somebody flat out. He's like, who do I replace? I said Jackson's out 2 to 4 weeks. Drop him.
I mean,
you got to make decisions like that. I just went and I tell people part of the thing about the waiver wire is that Thursday morning or Wednesday morning once these all go through, you need to go check who's been dropped. I put a bid on somebody dropped Josh Gordon because he's in a situation
same deal
like you, and I'm like, okay, I have room. I'll take that speculation.
I didn't really even have room necessarily. It was more just like I can't let Josh Gordon be dropped without.
Right.
Like,
if
this is somebody trying to be cheeky to get him back.
Right.
Like I'm not.
No, we're not
allowing
about
that.
it. We're not about that. So it's like there are people that were on the waiver wire this week that you're like that were dropped because of these situations that we're all talking about.
Right.
Well, if you're a Connor owner and you don't have anything in the back, you've got to go add Samuels this week. Because you're not 100% sure on Tuesday whether he's going to play on Sunday.
No question.
And they're talking about he's not going to practice all week, but he's going to play. Okay.
I mean, I hear you. I hear you.
There's terrible situations like that. But I tell anybody right now, if you have not checked your waiver wire,
just see what's sitting there.
Just go see who people drop, not just who you got.
Right.
Go see who people drop. There are people out there that you're like, oh. Why did they? Because they're into one of these situations that they had to protect themselves to put a roster up this week.
By the way, I'm just gonna look. I am in favor of bigger rosters in fantasy football, right? Like I'm in favor of letting the draft go longer. I'm in favor of bigger rosters. I get it. It's not for everybody. You and I are kind of nerds, and so it's a little bit different.
Until you get to this
when you're playing with your friends, you get to the point where you're like halfway through the draft, and they don't even know who the guys are that they're drafting.
They don't in the 8th round.
Correct. Yeah, they don't want to keep drafting. I understand why this is difficult, but my God, I'm 3 weeks into the season, and I'm losing my mind over this stuff.
I made a trade in a league, and I actually put it on Twitter because I'm like, am I really making this trade?
Yeah.
At the start of week 3, and because I have Mark Andrews on my bench.
Who's your tight end?
Kelsey.
Well, I mean,
I packaged Kelsey and Stephon Diggs.
Okay.
And I like what I got back, but somebody told me I was nuts for trading Kelsey, and I got DeAndre Hopkins and Cooper Kupp because I needed wide receivers.
Yeah, I mean, if you need wide receivers,
I need wide receivers.
Right, you feel good about your tight end.
I think I now have 2 top 5 tight ends. Who's going to bring me back the most? It's Kelsey. Am I rolling the dice? Absolutely, I'm rolling the dice because Kelsey is in a tier by himself.
Right.
But you're in situations. I was one of these leagues where I was going to have to start Aguilar or JJ Arcega Whiteside and like John Ross if I wanted to. And
I'm in a league where I'm like debating whether or not I try to move Austin Eckler now, because I'm hoping that maybe.
Yeah, I told a lot of people no this week because
Really?
a lot of people are on that train.
I just need my wide receivers in that league are fine. They're Hilton and Lockett, but I don't have a stud, right? Like I'd love to have a stud wide receiver.
Well, who would be your okay? So
who am I playing as my flex?
So who you're playing at your flex?
It's a significant drop off in flex.
Right.
I guess what I'm hoping is that either Miles Sanders is about to become that dude, which it looks like he's getting closer to being that dude, or I'm playing off this idea that at some point Melvin Gordon is going to show back up. And then Austin Eckler's not going to be the guy that he's been to this point.
But if he
season.
shows up in week 8, maybe he's back to his normal stuff in week 10. I'll take the 10 weeks of Eckler.
I do have Kareem Hunt still waiting. I've been holding on.
I don't think he takes that much of a share.
I've told everybody, if you're holding on to Hunt and you need a spot, he's the one to draft.
But I don't need the spot.
Okay, if you don't need the spot,
right
you can hold on to him until you need the spot. Because, but if Chubb, who's really good and just has an idiotic coach.
Yeah, but in fairness, this is Kareem Hunt. Like, he's a super talent that we're talking about.
In fairness, this is Nick Chubb, and Nick Chubb may be a top 5 running back in the league if they would just give him the ball 20 times a game.
Maybe. But Kareem Hunt also is really good at like catching the ball. He's really good at all of those things. Like, I don't think they're going to purposely not use
Chiefs
Kareem
offense
Hunt.
has been good at catching the ball.
Yeah,
you should be careful.
You're not. Well, not.
I mean, just saying.
No,
Kareem Hunt's really good.
You're not going to try to compare Kareem Hunt and Damian Williams. That's not true.
But if Chubb were putting in the Chiefs offense,
Damian Williams has not been Kareem Hunt.
Last year,
he was.
Like he had a game.
No, not a game. He had about 6 weeks
where he
through
the playoffs.
He won people fantasy leagues. He won people fantasy.
He was one of their most dynamic players in the playoffs too.
Yeah. All right, when we come back in, we're going to answer your questions. Get them in at Glenn Clark Radio on Twitter, Facebook.com/Glenn Clark Radio. We will go through those next. Need just literally not even a minute to tell you about Wise Markets and Glory Days Grill. It's the Press Box Fantasy Football Show. Catch all of the action at your neighborhood Glory Days Grill, where we have tons of TVs to catch every moment of every game. Enjoy $5.99 burgers on Mondays, $5.99 nachos on Thursdays, and drink specials throughout the season to help you cheer on your favorite teams. Come in today and try something new from our seasonal menu. Glory Days Grill, great food, good sports.
Need groceries today but don't have time to shop? Order online with same-day pickup or delivery at Wise Markets. Wise to go online. Now that's convenient.
All right, back in here on the Press Box Fantasy Football Show. Kyle's literally doing the show off the air. It's a really weird bit. All right, let's get to some listener questions. From Nick Kelly, he wants to know he's gonna apparently has to pick up a tight end this week. I don't know if that's because he's a David Njoku owner. But grab O.J. Howard or Will Dissly.
Howard's available.
I've seen him available in many places. I'm putting my stamp on O.J. Howard scores touchdown this weekend.
Okay, so there's your answer. Go
even
get
just
O.J.
if it's
Howard.
like an opportunity thing, like you're not going to find a better chance of producing at tight end.
I mean,
on
you
the
say that, but like
I've
been waiting a while.
I've picked him up in 2 weeks because he was dropped.
I mean, I hear you that like we all think he's a talent and we all think that like the Buccaneers have a lot to do. It's just that he has not been productive.
Who did the Buccaneers play this week?
The Giants.
They haven't covered a tight end in 3 years.
That's a good point. That is a good point.
3 years.
You're right about that.
It does not matter what tight end starts. He is catching a touchdown pass this week. He and Braid may catch one.
John wants to know Bills D or, hang on a second, Packers D.
Ooh.
Both pretty good plays.
Both pretty good plays. I believe I have the Buffalo Bills. I actually have them 5 and 6 this week with the Buffalo Bills at 5, so I'm going to play the Bills.
Are you so scared of the Bills that you would shy away from Tyler Boyd this week?
No, because Boyd gets the underneath stuff too. He may not get the long ones, but his volume is such that I have him lower. I have him as a wide receiver, I think 3 this week, but he's not unstartable. He's at least a wide receiver 3 or flex this week, just because of the sheer volume.
Adrian Peterson. Boy, this is a question from like 2014. Adrian Peterson, Frank Gore, or Carlos Hyde? I mean,
I can't believe we're still answering this question.
It's a legit question, though.
It is. They're all. I can't start Peterson against the Bears. They just give up nothing on the ground.
Yeah, I hear you.
I'm going to start Gore
Okay.
I
This is where we're at.
He's playing against Cincinnati. He won't die.
This is what it's come to.
He just won't. I mean, he's going to be playing until he's 50.
I mean, he's
At
like isn't he like the third all-time leading rusher at this point? Like
I don't think he's that high.
Dude, it is like if
he's getting there.
it's absurd how high Frank Gore has.
We've been having this conversation for 5 years. I mean, 5 years.
No, you're right about that. Tyrell Williams or Mecole Hardman?
Williams. Hardman had 3 targets, folks. I mean, I know we're excited. He had three targets.
I mean, they
He's
get nice chunk plays. Though.
But Minnesota isn't scary with Tyrell?
Again, similar to Boyd, he gets such a large share of the targets that no. I mean, look, if you're desperate, and I'm not saying desperate, but Hardman, again, he's the 5th option in the passing game.
PPR, Robert Woods, Calvin Ridley, or Marvin Jones?
Woods.
And then for a flex spot, Aaron Jones, James White, Calvin Ridley, or Marvin Jones?
James White.
Yeah. I mean, you do like saying the name James White.
Anytime James White is in a question.
Against the Jets?
You do love
without Mosley?
Like, what's the
I'm
question
saying, like,
there?
they might just be up for a lot, and they might not want to throw the ball to the running back much.
Yeah.
I mean, they might run him. Like, what a weird, goofy concept that would be.
They've run him this year a couple times. Got some goal line touches.
Oh, there you go. He's
it's James White.
You love James White.
I do.
I do.
Nobody
cares what I think.
That is true.
Yeah.
I care.
Paul from Ovilando wants to know PPR, David Montgomery or Raheem Mostert?
Montgomery.
Tell me about Mostert. Why is everybody Mostert? What? You're the one that's going to be telling me about pronunciations. You haven't gotten a pronunciation right in 10 years.
I just got one.
You got one. Congratulations. What's the thought there? Like, why everybody seems to be trying to snag him this week?
Well, I mean, he's the bell cow right now. They're not. It seems for the moment they're not committed to Matt Breida because they want to keep him semi-healthy, which he wasn't last year, but he was really good. Coleman is hurt. The Jeff Wilson thing seemed like it was kind of fluky for me.
Yeah.
The two touchdowns. I mean, Mostert's been good. Anytime he's played over the last 2 years, he's been really, really good.
Start 2, John Ross, Corey Davis, and Will Fuller.
I want nothing to do with tonight's game.
I hear you. On that.
Look, I'm not the. It's going to become midnight soon with this John Ross thing. I'm just warning y'all. But we'll go Ross and Fuller.
Is that a situation where you'd be looking to see what's available, maybe?
Yeah. I mean, if like Aguilar and a PPR was available,
okay.
I would probably go in that route. I've seen a lot of Deebo Samuel on the waiver wire. If he was available, I may go in that direction over Ross. But he's, I told everybody, I've told you for 2 weeks to trade him high, and you're getting ready to lose that option.
How do you feel about Terry McLaurin? Like, I know he's made plays, but it's the Redskins offense.
I can't invest in the Redskins offense.
He's a real deal.
I mean, I'm not
player.
saying he's not a
just
player.
The Redskins.
I think Keenum has proven that he can sustain receivers before with both Diggs and Thielen.
But it's a completely different situation that he was in.
Okay, but if the targets are there, which they are right now,
they are.
The talent's there.
Again, he's flexy for me, nothing more. But I just. You've got to me. He's down on the list. I mean, he's not a surefire start because of that offense. And this week especially, I don't like to play people against the Bears.
I hear you.
I just don't. That defense is too good, and they can shut you down too easily.
This is a flex question: Miles Sanders, Greg Olsen, Frank Gore, or Terry McLaurin.
I like what I see from Sanders, so I'm going to go Sanders.
This is part of this that like we all want Sanders to be a thing.
He bounces it outside too much. I feel like he's like trying to get too cute with it.
But they are starting. They have some. Clement went down, so that helps a little bit. He may not play this week, so that opens up a couple of touches, maybe a passing look.
They trust him in pass protection.
The Sproles thing is all cute, but he needs to retire. So
I didn't
like.
know it was a War Darren Sproles situation.
No,
I
I
know
just-
you hated the man so
I
much.
don't
you
hate
try
the
and
man.
tackle
Yeah.
him, Casey.
I can't. But
Get out of here. Get out of my life.
it's like he's like Sproles is becoming like Gore. It's like could we just open the way for the young guys?
I appreciate Darren Sproles.
I
He
appreciate-
paved the
I
way
appreciate-
for this current generation of pass-catching running back.
Look, I appreciate him as well, but it's like, what's he, like 37?
At least.
I mean,
It still has value for
That's-
them. Not everything's about
He's-
fantasy
he
football,
ruined-
Casey. Not believe it or
everything's
not.
about fantasy football.
All right, Kyle, go ahead.
Don't tell me you forgot already.
Yeah,
No,
Jesus Christ.
Damian Williams. I mean, look, if he plays, you play him.
plays,
I
you play him,
guess,
yes.
but would you play Emmanuel Sanders or Tyrell Williams over him?
PPR?
Half point.
I really like Sanders this week.
Do you? I mean, Jair Alexander's really good.
Yeah, I know, but he's not.
I mean, Sanders is getting a lot of targets.
Right. It's the target share, and he does exactly what his quarterback likes to do, which is throw 3 yards away. I'm going to go Sanders.
Now, would you keep Williams in and play Sanders over Lockett?
No, I'd play Lockett.
You play Lockett and
Yeah,
Sanders.
Yeah.
All right. Seahawks defense against the Saints. You like that stream?
I do, because we don't know what we're getting out of New Orleans. Little bit risky. I don't know who else is out there because, he could.
Well, I'll tell you. You got the
they
Panthers, the Chargers, the Chiefs, the Cardinals, the Lions, the Falcons, the Bucks, the Bengals, and the Redskins at the top.
Sounds as good as any.
The Bucks are interesting to an extent, but I don't know. It's still a wild card with what the
it's-
Giants look like.
I mean, the Bucks are going to be up there because they have looked good. They're at home. The Giants are starting a rookie quarterback, but there's still the Barkley thing. I mean,
Is the Redskins defense insane to play?
it's not insane because
Mr. Trubisky can't throw the ball?
because the Bears haven't proven that they can do anything with offensively. But I'd probably go Seattle
Okay.
in this case.
All right. On to my other team, both 2-0. Thank you.
Just get to the question.
I had to load. With Tyler Boyd, we talked about it before. You would keep him in over the likes of Miles Sanders, McLaurin, I guess Adrian Peterson.
Yes.
And I guess that's about it for me.
Okay, cool. That was fun. I appreciated us doing that. You know what? Maybe we'll do that off the air next week. Not really.
Wow.
Ben from San Francisco wants to know he's in a pickle
I'm not
with
offended. He's just a jerk.
Cam Newton probably not playing. Who would you go with? Gross. Andy Dalton, Mitch Trubisky, Marcus Mariota, Gardner Minshew.
See,
It's
but
bad.
I'm glad this question's come up because these are the situations.
Oh, that's so gross.
we're in. Boy. I'm gonna go Dalton, just because they've been slinging it around. I know that it's a tough defense on the road. I don't like anything about this Thursday night game. I think it could wind up being like 12-9.
Yeah.
If Daniel Jones or Mason Rudolph aren't on the waiver wire, I'd probably go Dalton and hope he continues to throw the ball 45 times a game.
All right. I'm trying to do the bit where I'm picking up defenses for next week. Like I'm playing the Titans tonight against the Jaguars in one league.
I would do that.
But I don't want to play the Titans next week against the Falcons, so I want to pick up the Colts. I think are the best of my options next week. They play the Raiders. Would you be dropping Deshaun Jackson to do that?
No.
So you would just take your chance on
I
what's
would take my
available next
chance
week?
next week, or I'd just play the Titans.
Okay, well, I'm definitely not going to play the Bills against the Patriots.
Probably not.
You play them tough, to be honest.
I
Routinely,
hear
they
you.
play them tough, but I know, I hear
I'm
you.
not doing that.
Yeah.
Would you?
You got to hold the Bills, though.
What's that?
You think he has to
Oh,
hold
I'm
on to the
definitely.
Bills?
That's the
Yeah.
problem. I'm definitely holding the Bills. So I'm going to need.
So I thought you said you were holding the Titans.
No, this is a different league now. In one league, I've got the Titans this
Sorry,
week.
that's
In my next league,
I didn't
Right.
get them moving on
I'm
to
playing.
the next
I'm
league.
playing the Bills, but I'm going to need to drop somebody in order to get my defense for next week because
Gotcha.
I'm not going to be dropping the Bills. I guess I could just wait and see.
I
who
would.
get,
I would just wait because the Colts are not
so,
good enough for
yeah.
me that's like, oh, I got to play them. It's not like they're playing the Dolphins.
All right, I hear you on that. Chris wants to know, start 2 receivers from this group. Tyrell Williams, Will Fuller, Demarcus Robinson, Mecole Hardman.
You kind of want a piece of the Kansas City game, don't you?
I mean, Robinson would be I would think, right?
He would be the one over Hardman.
Would you play him over Fuller?
So hard. I mean, we're playing Tyrell Williams.
Missed the chance there, KZ. So hard, man.
I don't know if that was a thing or not, but
You missed a chance. It's fine.
Sorry.
I just said what I said.
Okay. I'd probably go Williams and Fuller. It's safer. We're talking about the number 2 option in Houston, and we're talking about the number 1 option where we're talking about.
Oh, hang on. There's a follow-up because he does say he can play one of these guys as a flex.
Oh, then yeah.
Hang on. He says
so we can start 3.
He says his flex options would then be whichever receiver.
Right.
Like, so I guess you're saying Robinson and Hardman, and then he throws in Adrian Peterson, Miles Sanders.
Well, I play Sanders in your flex.
So basically you're saying don't play a Kansas City receiver. It's tough, man. Like, you want to have a Kansas City receiver. It's really hard to not play. I got a similar situation.
I'm going to tell. See, here's where sometimes you have to ignore your rankings a little bit because I want a piece of the game. My rankings would tell you to start Williams, Fuller, and Sanders. Okay, I'm going to tell you to do Williams, Robinson, and Sanders, and bench Fuller.
So bench Fuller, play Williams, Robinson, and Sanders.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Very good. Hey, don't forget, if you need groceries today but don't have time to shop, you can order online with same-day pickup or delivery at Wise Markets. Wise to go online. Now that's convenient. KZ, anything else that folks just need to be thinking about as we move towards, obviously, the first game of night and then the batch games on Sunday?
Not particularly. Look, we're still in this start tight ends. Any tight end that's playing the Giants, any tight end that's playing Cleveland. Gerald Everett is a good streamer this week because of that type situation. Those 2 teams still cannot cover the tight ends. We did this last year. Apparently we're going to do it again. Don't be so scared off of Mason Rudolph is the one thing.
Okay.
I think he has the ability to surprise people the most of all the backup and rookie quarterbacks that we're now having to come into our consciousness.
Did you drop Malcolm Brown to stash David Njoku?
No.
Okay.
No,
right.
Not yet.
Okay. I'm just asking, man.
I mean, in Njoku, I haven't seen it come back yet, but if he broke his wrist, I mean,
the word that I've seen is 4 weeks.
I was going to say we're talking 4 to 6. So if it's 4, I mean we're talking a month. I wouldn't want to be without Malcolm Brown for 4 weeks while I'm waiting for Njoku. You know what
I hear you. I'm not telling you. And I've got George Kittle, so it's not like I need it. It's more just like David Njoku. It's one of those things where you see a guy sitting there and you're like...
Right, you're like, oh, what's it going to be?
And like you have an IR spot, but I also don't know that I want to use the IR spot.
Well, if you have an IR spot...
But I can only use it one time all year.
But you also can't... What do you mean you can only use it?
You can't like take one player off IR and put another player on. Our IR rule is you can only use IR once all season for one guy. That's
a dumb rule.
Hey, man, it's not my rule.
I know it's a dumb rule.
Yeah, all right.
So if Njoku,
if I were to pick up,
somebody gets hurt later, you can't put him on.
Put another guy on IR. Once you've used it, you've used it.
We still have an IR, so
it's like they all say
weird.
If you don't use it, you lose it, or something like that.
Yeah,
that was a 40-year-old virgin.
I wouldn't do that now.
If you don't,
now if I would wait a week on that with Malcolm Brown, I really would. I just think it's going to be a share, and he's going to vulture some weeks. And
John from Little Rock wanted to make is Ken Shore on James White over Aaron Jones? He has Jones ranked at 6 and White in the 20s.
I know, but that's a half. Half PPR is my ranking. So just understand that you have the rankings that are listed are
it's really funny.
half point PPR. And if you're a full PPR league, it makes the rankings different.
So where would they be in a full point? Like, how would you have them?
They would be
there?
really close. They'd both be in the teens.
Okay. All right. Very good.
Michael Gallup's a hold, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's 2 to 4 weeks, so he's a hold.
Okay. All right. At Fans Fantasy on Twitter is how you follow him. PressBoxOnline.com is where you see all of his stuff. KZ, appreciate it, pal. We will talk to you next Thursday.
Sounds good.
We'll see you back here tomorrow morning for Glenn Clark Radio at 10.